¿Dónde está? God, what a wild. Yeah, this is going to be a good show. I imagine we're going to be here 2 hours. Okay, wait a minute. Why isn't it showing up? There it is. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me just pull up. Let me pull it up so we can have comments. I'm going to pull up Facebook and YouTube, and that way I can catch the comments. Let's do YouTube and YouTube, and yeah, this will be a good show. There's a lot to talk about. Okay, we got some people in the house. Carmen Cortez is already here. All right, all right. Rock and roll. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Who's opening up the show? Elsa.
Yes, Elsa.
Throw me in the deep end. So which aisle are we going down?
Well, I imagine we're going to go down a few.
Subject do we tap on? Oh, wow. Seriously. Which one do we tap on? Okay, I'm going to start with my eye. Get it over and out there. So 26th, I spoke to Pamela about this because I was flipping out yesterday because I flip out too. And I was working late one night and I went out at midnight and said to the stars, turn it up, Neff, because this needs another level. This needs something else. Turn it up. That's what I said out loud, and didn't think much of it. And then did a couple more hours work. So I worked till 3 a.m. Went to bed, woke up, and my whole left eye has just had an atomic bomb go off in it, or just blood everywhere. And it's Neff's eye. Like, I just knew it was her. And then she sends me songs, and I'm just like, what? And then I check on my emails, and people are saying, did you know there's this like 7-hour blackout? I kept saying, what time was it? What time was it? So I start working back on the times, and it's the same time. Did I cause the blackout? Nope. Did my eye coincide with the blackout? Yes. Then once I had acknowledged this, this huge storm came through here. Like, it was huge. We haven't had rain for a while again. And so we were ready for rain. We were excited for rain. And it came through, and we were videoing it with the kids, and we had to keep telling the little girls to shut up because we couldn't hear the thunder over their excitement. I kept saying, where is it going to hit? Where's it going to hit? Where's it going to hit? So I could know where to point the phone. Then we were getting the lightning that goes horizontal. So, they're messing with it. And then all of a sudden, Jerry goes there, and she's the Pleiadian one. And she goes there, face there, else. So I face it there, and this laser one goes like down to the ground. And this is in this hot spot I've been talking about, where the two streams meet, where we've had car accidents. Some of them have been fatal, not us, but others. It's like this hot spot. It's where all these things are happening for our family at this one location, and others at this one location. Anyway, it was the first time I actually went, holy shit, that sounded like a bomb or something hitting the ground. I didn't feel scared, but I definitely felt exhilarated from it. I was like, whoa. And then the storm left, then it came back. And the reason we noticed the storm going and coming back is because our kids are running out and checking on all the chickens, because the lightning was so close to the house that the chickens were dying. They just die of fright because it's so close. And we've got lots of baby chicks at the moment, and the little girls were running out and checking the ducklings and checking the chickens and cuddling them and saying, you're all right, you're all right. Anyway, they come back in, and I won't let them stay out there too long because we got Ginger in the house, so her pulling in lightning, and I said, "Get back to the house. It's coming back." It came back 3 times, this storm. The storms usually come, maybe they circle once, but then they head off. I'm just like, I was buzzing so much. I had to talk to Pamela because I was starting to feel like I was literally going crazy. And, it coincides with apparently everyone's feeling the same. So it's okay. The crazy ones are feeling it because they're embracing it.
You want to turn your volume up just a little bit?
Oh, really?
Just a hair.
Okay. That better?
Yeah, perfect. The crazy ones, what? The crazy ones are feeling it? Well, I think the crazy
ones. Yeah.
I'm listening to you and I'm laughing from the beginning because the first thing you said was look up at the stars and go, give me more. Come on, turn it up. And I thought, I thought I was the only stupid one. I do that all the time. And but I think you're right about aligning with it through our behavior, basically. You were feeling it. You were saying, bring it on, but a part of you knew that it was coming. Now, when was this? Was this like, hang on, let me see if I can, would this have been, what the hell day is it? So
Pamela said it's the 7/7 day or something. 7.
Your mic's muted. The 9/9 was yesterday. The last 9/9/9.
It was the 7/7/7 portal that happened. So that was on Monday.
Okay, Monday. So for me, okay, when was the? God, I can't think. I can't even.
This is
the fuck.
I know.
Okay, wait a minute. When was the equinox? When was the equinox?
That was right.
That was
right before it. Right.
That's
before
right. That was Friday, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, over here. So then Sunday came, Monday. I would say, yeah, like Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, okay, we're good. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah. Well, we found that everyone in the family was leveled out. We were literally leveled out through the equinox. After the day before, we just doing nothing was the only thing that felt good. It was the weirdest thing, and it was the only thing that felt good was doing nothing. So we kept it. Some of us would get frustrated. You could see all the family members with their different dynamics. Some were getting frustrated, some were getting bored, some were feeling anxiety. So it was quite interesting. But we all knew what it was. We laugh in the family because we call it. Don't say it because Mum's going to call it denial. And I said, you're denialing it. But yeah, this leveling out, and then else goes out and says, turn it up, like Todd does. and then they go, oh, they want more.
You brought up the rivers.
Yeah.
You brought up the rivers, Elsa. You said denial. You said denial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, denial is the rivers. It's called denial because it's the 2 rivers coming as a confluence, and this is the hotspot for us here too. This is what I'm this is what I'm explaining is these stories in mythology and things we've heard through our history. All these clues are actually happening for us in our real life. Now, I didn't create this to happen, or who knows, but it's happening, and there's other parties involved. So and if it's happening to me, it's happening to others around the world. Mm-hmm. And it is. I hear you guys tell stories, and it's happening to others around the world. So what is it? It's us all tapping in again.
Yeah. All at the same time. This particular equinox has been a exaggerated experience of what we were meant to do because we needed to get some of the October stuff done before we got to October. And so like, remember that Moroni guy came on the first for me, and that was the thing, was like, do you want to like seriously go through a big detox, and so we've been doing this for the entire month. The difference for me, I felt like I wasn't in my body for almost the entire month. Like I'm I have hardly any memory of September. Like really, I'm not making it. I'm like, seriously, it's like really vague. And I've been really super tired, like really, really, really tired. And now I just feel like I'm waking up and going, so what's happened? But I did the same thing. I agreed. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's detox away. Let's see what happens. Oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Oh my gosh, it's been a really crazy couple of months, really. But it all started, this whole epic it started in February 2nd, 22nd was like the Tuesday, right? And we knew all about that. And that was when all of a sudden I started really talking. And at that time, we wrote about the three rivers because of my daughter brought in the three puppets. And I'm throwing away all of my notes, and I found this in one of my notebooks. And this is the notes about Maddie and her three puppets. And it was the three rivers. And once the three rivers fully remove themselves in order for us to see beneath them is when we are supposed to be here. We already know that. So far, two of the rivers have evacuated the water. We're just waiting for, so the Mississippi is the last of the three rivers. We have the Ganges River, how you say it? The Mississippi and the Nile. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, what can you? I missed that. I mean, I missed that from before, not today, but oh, I almost said her name. So Maddie. Okay, so I can say her name. I forgot. So she has this thing about these three puppets, and these three puppets are the Ganges, the Mississippi, and the Nile. And you're saying two of the three have dried up. Is that right?
Well, one is dried, the Nile's dried up, and yes, and the other's they're taking the water out for some type of repair or something. But yeah.
Wow. What is that? What does that point to?
Okay, so one is an elephant, one's a bear, one's a hippo. Pink, yellow, blue. That's important that we know that. But so release of all in contrary to love. So it's so what's happening right now? Okay, just to gist it up. It makes a lot of more sense to say it this way rather than reading the notes. Is what's happening is, okay, so we've all known that water is consciousness. Consciousness of water has been available this whole time. It's just simply that our frequency wasn't meeting the frequency of water's consciousness. We all know that water and light, you put them together, you make life, but it's the realization that when you take water and light and put them together, you have soul. It's a physical, tangible thing that becomes all things. And that's what we learned in the abyss. And so what's happening right now is that once the places that have been intentionally keeping the water at a lower frequency, so unattainable, inaccessible to those who were able to reach those frequencies, the water's being cleaned, basically, repaired. Moto, I don't remember his name, the last name of this scientist who has proven, like, if you say something.
Emoto.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you speak kind words to water molecules, you could see that they change to something beautiful. And if you say unkind words, the reverse is true. And such is true for also the way that they're treated. And so we had this crystalline experience. Something happened. I think it was last week. Wasn't it last week we talked about that? That there was something that shot through all of us in our crystallize our, I don't know. I'm falling off my trajectory. Okay, so anyway, then what's happening now is that this water's being brought into a more balanced place by removing it. Also, too, underneath these waters places is where a lot of the codes have been hidden, like in dams and stuff. And that's why there's so many symbols everywhere about these dams breaking. And this actually led into the conversation that Elsa and I were having about rabbits.
Rabbits. Okay, that sounds
yeah.
like we're sure. So I saw this comment and I just want to pull it up real quick. I'm not sure. I'm sure I'm supposed to know who Diamond Heart 888 is on YouTube.
That's Charmony.
That's Charmony. Okay, I knew who it was. Okay. All right. So she says here, Franco shared last night. We did it. Equinox sealed it. So Equinox was at 11:49 on Friday night here. So it was mostly on Saturday. I think Saturday, the weekend. And so I've heard different things from different people about, their description of it, but without getting into specifics, because that can kind of like, make it more complicated than it needs to be. Something very, very big was turned off, right? Totally turned off. And now we're operating in a field of the fullest potential. And there's been several people, again, people that have been out there a while, that have said one way or the other that the last 3 months, essentially, we get like a this 90-day period through the solstice to work with the energy and to become, to have or to fulfill a greater level of mastery during this period, I guess, in preparation for 2024. So, and the fact that she mentioned Franco, because I've had a little bit of that too from him. But yeah, so off to the rabbits and the rabbits, what's the rabbits about?
Water.
Yeah. But can I just say, with the seal? Oh, yesterday the little girls were talking about the seal. They said this is how they heal horses. They get the race horses. They get a laser, which is because we were talking about lasers because of this lightning, and they get a laser and they laser the wound with heat so that it scars neat. And they said this is the cleanest seal. And you just said, Franco said seal, and something big has happened, and seal is see all. And it's like we've sealed it. It's got something to do with water and the ship and flipping it and all this, but we've sealed it, and now it's in full swing now. Literally the 1st of October, I've got it written down. Full swing. Like we're in the full spin now of the 3rd spin of the year. And so I'm talking with Pamela about this white rabbit. And then it hits me. It's because I'm wondering how this year is the water rabbit. And because you don't imagine rabbits being in water. So it's taken me all year to get through this whole water rabbit thing. Anyway, I'm talking to Pamela, and we're saying it's like this first scene of The Matrix, where you hear knock knock, and he wakes up and he's been talking to the computer, and they're saying, wake up, wake up. It's the Matrix talking to you. I said, this is how it's been feeling for me. I feel like the Matrix is literally talking to lots of us. And we've reversed the spin on it, so we're getting the echo of the old Matrix, but now we're getting the new Matrix coming through, the new ones, the new 111s. You hear me going on about it. Anyway, and then I said, I really want to see that scene, and everything froze on my computer. So Pamela sends me the link, and I go to look at the link, and it's Neo's door, and it's 101. And I was like, oh my God, it's just right in front of me. And this white rabbit character we know, like literally in our life. A lot of these characters in the Matrix we photographed, or they got the job because of our photographs or something like this. But it's so funny that we knew the white rabbit, and then we worked out that it's white rapids. It's white rapids. It's the speed of the rabbit, but it's rapids. We're in the white rapids.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is literally how I felt this year, because I just get over the rocks. I've got bruises on my knee, and then you have that just serene peace of that pool that's just reflective, and you can just see all the trees and the birds and the bees. And then you go, oh my gosh, is that more rocks coming? and then you go through. And through these, each section of the rapids that we're going through, you feel stronger.
Mm.
And it feels easier the next rapids.
Yeah. And the seal is in the water as well. The white rabbit. Okay, remember, and those few of you who haven't watched The Matrix, they're talking about follow the white rabbit when there's this part that Elsa and I are talking about, and that's kind of how the whole story starts to unfold. I've been having these wild rabbits just showing up around here, and that was where this joke started. Really, was I sent a video to Elsa, and rabbit means in the totem. If you do the Native American medicine of the animal, it means fear, and we know that we're in a time right now where fear is. So we had come here in a place where we are speakers of love, is basically how it works. You know, you're speakers of love, and you come to a place where the primary language is fear, and we've been learning how to communicate in this way with fear. Fear sometimes looks like anger, and then now we're in a place where that's why most of the first waivers, the people who are in the age group of the first waivers of Dolores Cannon's 3 waves of volunteers, are having such difficulty with the lower abdomen area right now, because this is where fear is contained, and they have had the correct types of parts of their in order to be able to digest, I guess, is the fear, and we no longer need it, so we're the way that we did before, so it's purging. And as this fear purges, then we start to get to see everything, because fear stops us from looking. Fear makes you cover your eyes. And what was really cool about this is that, so now it's not to say that fear is bad. It's just that overemphasis on anything can become unhealthy. And so now as rabbits started to come in, then it started to hop and to allow us to see and to hear. And that was when the conversation of Elsa feels like, that was really fun, because what was happening was the last time the 3 of us were meeting. Isn't that right? The last time the 3 of us were meeting, that this woman was doing the work on the Hopi.
Yeah, so I had this session with the most, I call her the pretty one. She's just the most angelic looking lady. And we were working through her. She thought she was carrying all this stuff. And I said to her, it's not yours. You're not carrying anything. Can you hear me, or did it just die?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Anyway, we worked through it, and I just said to her, have you lost my volume? This is weird.
No, you're good. You're good. I just have major tones coming in and pressure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because mine's still in the same. Just like, okay.
Yeah, there's something that, look, I had something. We're capturing this because I told y'all I had a conversation in synchronicity with the star being. Here we go again.
Yeah. I know.
I've
got this.
Are you getting this?
Yeah, it keeps my ears go bang, 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 bang.
Yeah. Are you getting this, Pamela?
I just need to pop my ears. I feel like that we've
Oh,
raised
well,
up.
yeah. So I've got, so it feels like a real high attunement of
Yeah.
the mother, the feminine energy, specifically into the temple, the left
Well,
temple.
this lady she holds old energy, like layers and layers. She goes back to the Quakers and before that. And it presented to me that she was carrying the black rose, and she's been carrying this black rose spiral. So that relates to the death spiral of the ants. But when I saw her, I didn't see this. I saw that was like an echo. It's not hers. And she lives on if you look at this map, it looks like a rabbit where she lives. And the ear of the rabbit is bent down. And she said she felt a calling. And I looked at the map, and I couldn't believe that she lived at one point of the rabbit ear to the point where she wanted to go to was the other point of the rabbit ear. So she went up and she did just like little clearing words and, just at a few spots along the way that I suggested. Anyway, and because she had to go to town, so then she goes up to the top of the ear and then comes back down. I tell this to Pamela, and she goes, that this is a Hopi prophecy. And I went, what? And she goes, this is a Hopi prophecy. And then she recited the Hopi prophecy, and I've got to let Pamela say it because I can't word it as good as her.
I'm stuck. Dark divine feminine, and Todd said that right after I wrote that, and so then he started talking about the third eye thing, so I'm stuck over there on a different topic. What did you say?
I was talking about the Hopi ear prophecy.
Yeah, the ears to hear. It's not Hopi. It's the fact that it's in this area was what I part of that was a channeled conversation. So I might have said something that I don't know what you're talking about, but I know that the book in the Bible, Jesus talks about the ears to hear, the eyes to see, and the ears to hear.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, it was the Bible I was talking about.
Yeah, and I felt she was doing this while we were in our last Trinity show.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel I didn't know if she was there or wasn't there, so it just felt too fresh to speak about. But after she did it, she had so many like amazing little things happen along the way, but I felt like I felt a shift in the hive. Like they could hear some different things. And I brought this up when I did this presentation up in Queensland, and it was my first time on stage. And the word idea, which comes to creativity and creation and the magic ones, idea is eye to ear. Eye to ear. Eye to ear. And it's important because these are things that are in us. And even if you are deaf or blind, you still have these.
Mm-hmm.
And this is amazing in us, and to be able to understand that in us. So even if you're deaf, you still hear things in your dreams and your memory and your visions.
The last function you have after death is also your hearing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But idea is where it's created. And this is why, you see blind people, they can play music, or why our Dalmatian can bark and he knows different bark tones in his own voice, yet he can't hear. It's interesting to understand this. And this Hopi ear thing, I felt like a lot of people, we saw a lot of shifts happen also in the real day to day. Richard went into the big shopping centres where we collect food, and there's like 2 big shopping centres all through Australia. Anyway, he went in and he comes out with Jerry and he says, I've just had the most amazing shopping experience. I went, what happened? He goes, it's called quiet hour. I went, what? And he said, it's quiet hour. And they've brought in this thing in the grocery shops where they turn all the lights off and turn all the music off for the frequency sensitive ones. And I'm like, what? They implemented it in 2017. So this is when when it all started ramping up with Trump and everything, right? But it hasn't actually been in act in the stores until now. And they're testing it in the big food chains, and then they'll probably carry it through the shopping centres. So I saw this as a huge shift in how, because this is the big companies now, they're changing, and I'm seeing this in lots of other things happening throughout the world. They're changing a little bit the way the hospitals run. Things that they've done that was so strict, they're now assisting us. And Richard's like, I'm going to go shopping all the time in quiet hour. He said it was peaceful. He said he could think while he was shopping. He actually didn't spend as much because he could actually concentrate and think. And I was, because we're not great with fluoro lights, so
Yeah.
I know it sounds so simple, but it is so simple and it's such a small detail, but they've made it a big thing.
Yeah.
Why? Because they know they're going to lose. They're going to lose. The ones that are leading the way are going to be dragging in a good way the others with them. If they don't toe the line, literally, then they'll miss out.
Yeah.
They'll end. So they've got to act now in the highest good.
Yeah. There's a lot of systems like this happening, a lot of things like this happening where it's they're, like you said, they're just like, oh, I guess we got to be nice to these guys now and stop calling them conspiracy theorists. Like, and it's my neighborhood too. Like, I was the crazy garden lady, and now they're like, what crystal is this good for? You know, it's like, what are you talking to me for?
Yeah, so now we're the frequency sensitive ones. So we've gone from crazy, loony conspiracy theory. Now we're the sensitive frequency ones, and yeah, it's a good sign. We've seen many of these over the last this last year in particular, but it's when you see the big guns do it, it's because they hit the masses. Like, you have to shop at these shops 2 or 3 times a day. Yeah, that's so.
Yeah,
It's real. It's feeding through, literally feeding through now.
and that affects the abundance of all as well, you know, and it changes what the frequency of the food. Like, that's why we pray over food, is we're changing the frequency of the food, that, you know, disharmonious energy that's connected to it, and making everything, there's less cleaning to do in between point A and point B now when we have certain systems like that. It sounds simple, it sounds little, but it's a big deal. I would miss the music. My kiddo and I, we just dance the whole time we're at the store. People look at us. I don't care. Like, I'm not a good dancer. I'm not, but I have fun.
Well, the girls have said over a lot of the channels they listen to, they have blanketed them with a frequency. So if you're listening, they have a thing called Spotify in Australia, and you can listen to music on that. There's a lot of things where they've blanketed the whole lot with a frequency, and it sounds different. And so they're quite aware of it. And so when they go into quiet hour shopping center, they said, all they need now is crickets. They need crickets in there because it sounds empty. It sounds like you're in space. But it was so surreal. They said it was
Crazy.
not, and everyone, it's like a library.
That
So
would be nice.
it, yeah, it was just a different experience. But they're definitely giving it attention. And then I turn on the TV or the advertising, and I see these AI. You can buy a human for
What?
your commercials. Yeah, so it's
Oh
an
yeah.
AI person, and you can give them any voice you want and any. And I'm looking at them, going, they have no soul.
Yeah.
They're empty. They're just blackness. It's I definitely do not resonate to that at all. I don't see how it's going to sell anything because there's literally no buzz in them. There's no spark in them. It's Richard calls it soulless. He said they're just soulless. And it's interesting that they're seeing who will bait on it, I guess, who's going to actually use it. And I can guarantee with law of attraction that this will fail. You can't have soulless like that. There's just, it was an instant turn off for me. I actually had to force myself to watch it because I did not believe what I was actually seeing.
Yeah. It feels like it's an echo of an example of what was a timeline we were following before. And Todd's still here. He's just been over. Hi, Todd.
Okay. So I'm just trying to put all this together. So that something happened. All right.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've had a lot of experiences in my life. Okay. So I can just tell you this is well, I think it speaks to the time, this time we're talking about, the equinox, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. So it was that thing that was happening with the ears, right? Elsa, you felt it, and it was exactly what you described. And then there was a piercing into the left temple, which was a pure feminine thing, right? And it went into the left temple, and I'm sitting there with it, and all of a sudden I start to see what looks like what I would describe, and I don't know if this is who or what, but it looked like Mother Mary, right? And she had one hand was in the air like this, like this, and the other hand was, like kind of like this, and it was moving, it's doing like light language. But here there was this stream of light, right? Like pure white light. And I got that this was I guess an image or a message of what we're talking about or what's just happened. That, and you could say it a lot of ways, but she's representing the mother, which obviously is the divine feminine, and she is fully on in the body, right? And I don't think this pertains just to me.
No.
At all. I think this is a collective. It's what people have been talking about. I just happen to see it in a way I have not seen maybe 2 or 3 other things in my life. One was Jesus, when he was giving me a message about the Syrian mission and so on. Same kind of thing. He was communicating with light language with his hands. So, okay. So what this message is that she's fully turned on. and obviously we all have to do our own work, but I mean, she's fully turned on 100%. There is no more distortion. There is no more corruption. And she's the biggest domino.
Mm-hmm.
And the way she showed this to me was very, very cool. So there was a golden DNA, right? A golden DNA thread. And with her motions of her hands, she, and this was very graphic, right? That's why I kept closing my eyes. And there was a golden DNA strand like I've never seen. Golden white. I am familiar with the golden white light. And to me, that's the highest and has come into my life many times. So it's this golden strand that was running vertical, and somehow or another she was working it, right, with the hands like this. And then she laid it horizontal. And that was the message was, you know, it was up here. We pulled it in, and it's been laid onto the plane of the earth, right? It's, you know, it's done. So that's why I was quiet.
That's all.
That's it. Nothing
Holy
major.
cow.
Yeah.
At the same
So-
time, I had written, sorry, go ahead, Elsa.
No, you go. Yeah.
At the same time, I had written the opposite. What I mean is, I had a question. You had made a reference earlier about the dark divine feminine or something.
Mhm.
And I was like, I want to ask that question. And I wrote that down. And to me, and opposite meaning, it's like in photography, like you do the contrast is the wrong colors.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember what that's called. And it's like that. And so when that was written, then the code for the light part,
Well, that's
Mother-
crazy. That's crazy because I never said dark feminine.
really?
No,
Oh,
I never, I
want to know what you meant by it too. I'm like,
I
I'll
s-
write that down. So he'll
I
tell me what he
spoke in
means.
general. I spoke in general because there's different narratives that explain things different ways. You know, some people will talk about a distorted masculine. Some people will talk about, you know, the feminine. Some, you know, but I know that you picked up on it because that was one of the narratives, one of the substantial narratives that was shown to me, that was presented to me by others, you know. And I just didn't want to get into all the details of all that, but the telepathy is 100%, right? And so I get what you're saying too, because it's like the yin yang. Because this is whole trip, you know, this whole trip. We talk about balance, but the yin yang to me is more than that. It's seeing both sides as the same thing, right? They're individual, but they're part of a whole.
Yeah.
So this is our big thing here, because, you know, we always have these exceptions to the rule. You know, this is what we've left behind, this whole narcissistic rationale.
Yeah.
And so how we describe this, I can't really, you know, but I get what you're saying, because that's one of the narratives, and I'll be glad to share it, because I know this woman has done work for years and years and years. I know a lot of people follow her. Lauren Giorgio, I believe is her name. And she's very good. She doesn't come on camera, but what she was talking about was that the programming of the dark mother is gone.
Yeah.
It was an implant in all of us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So another way, the yin to the yang or whatever, was this Mother Mary coming in. Because this Mother Mary that I saw, I could still see her. I mean, she was loud. She landed with a thud and said, "Look at me." And I'm going, whoa, you know.
Yeah.
And you know what it reminds me of? This is giving me chills. So when I was 37 years old, I had a seizure. It was only one of two times. The other was the one I told you about, where I was conscious during the seizure. So this is 150, 200 seizures. And I got shot out of my body. And I was given a choice point, and I chose, obviously, to come back. But the being that I met with which was not a hologram. I know I was out of my body, but it was as solid as a rock, was this that I just saw. Now, I saw her as an angel. She had huge golden wings. She had beautiful auburn trestles. You know, her hair was just incredible. She was beautiful, porcelain face. I always thought that was an angel. And maybe this is all just metaphoric and symbolic, but there's something to it. There's something about getting that, making that connection right now on this show with y'all, which is a triad, Trinity, and the golden white light and the movement of the hands and the message from Jesus in 2018 when I saw him doing the same thing. That was the galactic, what am I trying to say? Like the history. He was showing me the history. He was showing me we had this mission. It was multi-planetary. It came out of Sirius, and he, I guess, was spearheading it, and it just kind of showed me the whole lineage of the history. Somehow or another, this is connected. Somehow or another, what happened today is connected to that time when I was 37 years old. That is the same essence. It's the same consciousness or something, energy complex or something. And so this is like a really big thing. This is absolutely complete. There is no more doubt. This is absolutely complete. And if I think about the physical synchronicities that I've had since yesterday morning, they've been phenomenal, like absolutely mind-blowing, phenomenal, without getting into the details because it might be too early. All these pieces about the Arkansas thing. And I would just say with the interaction I had today with the star being, it was I need to talk to Todd. I need to speak with you. And it was about Mythology. It was about what y'all are doing. It was about we are with you. We are here to communicate with you. We are here to escort you step by step by step so that there's no damage to this human psyche, but that you are on it. Houston, really around the world, but that this path through Houston, through the Mythology Fest, whether it's 100 people or 1,000 people, it doesn't matter. There is a loose end to tie up. There's something that will be done on a ritualistic level that will be multi-dimensional, that will be led by us, but in participation will be multi-universal representation. And then from there, this is our piece. There's this thing in Arkansas.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of pieces there with this Sister Jasmine that I can tell you from 3-4 years back, and some other pieces that were given to me, to include Julie Roberts and her connection to James Tiburon, Dolores Cannon, and some other people I can't recall the names, but there's some serious stuff involved with whatever the hell just came in. I feel like that, and it's starting again, but so there's
feels tickly.
Yeah, so there's this. I don't want to speculate, and I don't want to. I'll just sit and be quiet and see what else I get. But now I'm seeing something else, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, then I'm going to shut up and I'll come back in later. This that she's showing me is a single sphere. It's gold. and it has something either inscribed or you know, open within it that's making a certain form, and it's definitely tied to Odin.
Mhm.
Right. That's it.
We were already talking about this, Elsa and I. This is where that movie came in, The Golden Compass. Then there's like that circle one around the ball sphere. Is it a sphere, Todd?
Yeah, it's a sphere.
And
It's
it's
a sphere.
mechanical, but it's not
Huh?
mechanical.
Yeah.
It looks like pristine. So it looks almost like yeah, like it's I can't explain it, but I guess like porcelain would be to clay or but this is it's like but anyway, there's something, you know, like when you look at it, there's something in here,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
okay.
and I don't know if it's got a hole all the way through it or if it's encrypted on the top or something. I don't know, but it's actually not. It's not like a stationary thing. It's
Yeah.
actually speaking,
Mhm.
you know, and that also brings to mind the eye, the raven eye.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope you do, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
This is the building blocks. This is the building blocks. This is the triangle, the circle, and the square spinning. Now this is spin. This is in full spin. Now, so Tamala and I were laughing because we say humans are so slow. Even today, I was loading a video and it was like, oh my God, it's so slow. It's so heavy. So you can only see the triangle, the square, and the circle. Now it's spin this one, spin that one, and spin this one. Spin, 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 faster, 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 faster. And what's happening is what this tapping in is those points. So behind Pamela's picture behind is brilliant because it shows it. So all those points behind her are the tapping in. It's a tap in. It's a tap in. It's the points. So, and the tap ins are synchronicity, the dovetailing. It feels like it's getting faster for you. That's because the triangle, the circle, and the square are spinning. So this is actually the golden compass. I think they call it althometer. Althometer. It relates to Cronus.
Yes.
It is. It's before time. There is no time.
Yes.
Time is, and this golden compass is the golden ratio, and they speak of this time as the golden. This is the golden moments right now, and this is what we're heading into right now. Is these golden moments, and it's unnerving because we haven't been here. We haven't been here. So it doesn't feel right or wrong. It just feels like, what, what? And so we have to allow and go with it, allow, go with it, allow, go with it.
Right.
And this surrendering and allowing to the need rather than the wants brings the dovetailing and the synchronicity in faster. So it's those Pamela points behind us coming in faster. We also did have yesterday, I walked back from the front gate and we have the rooster next door. We call him the hot rooster because all our chickens love him. And he comes over and hangs out at our house. And he was in the middle of the gold field on the ground that the horses had made. And it looked like a crop circle in hay. And he was standing in the middle. And we've called him Crow. And Crow was crowing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a metaphor, as in, this is the two Odin crows, and he's in the middle of the gold field, but he's also crowing. So he sees himself, He sees me see him, and then he crows. So he's fully there. Like Todd said, it's fully happening now. It's engaged, it's leveled out, it's happening. And now there's definitely, even though it's still tough, I'm feeling such ease and grace more and more and more, and it's happening faster and faster for our family. And if I'm feeling it, everyone else must be feeling it. It cannot just be us. It just can't be.
This orb has to do with time and the ability for time to exist, and then also the undoing of time. That's why time, like we were doing the timeline, and then we go to June, and then you go, all of a sudden you're in September, and it's like, well, because time's not really linear, and that's why it's being had in that way. Grace, you talked about grace a lot. Grace is the word that I use to bring Mother Mary to talk to me. And so for you to say grace so much when we're talking about Mother Mary, I didn't know who she was. I didn't know Archangel Michael was Archangel Michael. I called him Bob for decades. Like, I don't care. They don't care what their names are, because that's not really their names. Like, that's just what we call them. And so Mother Mary goes by many names. I'm just telling you guys this, just, those who are listening, because the example of what's coming forward is so this is the mother is what she comes forward as. And with this, all of the sudden, all of the pretending, all of the having to posture and make it be okay, so you can stand there and not be whatever, it doesn't matter anymore. You could just be flawed, and when you find out that you're flawed, or allow your flaws to come out, you find out that they're not flaws at all, that they're things that she appreciates and wants you to look at those strengths. And this orb is the undoing of time. Because see, time had to be made to be a being in order for it to exist, so we can exist within it. And it was a useful tool, but it's no longer. And so that's how I've been getting a lot of too, is this time is breaking, and it's making it really hard to have a conversation with people. Because nothing makes sense when you're trying to, I don't know if I just made sense. I just rambled. I'm sorry.
What was interesting is this dark mother and the light mother. So you got the two mothers, and this is what happened. So Odin's fleet comes through. So when Odin's fleet come through, I was in a session with a lady called the White. I call her my white rose gift. And I was in a session with her. I had to say, look, I got to stop. My son's calling me out, and there was just Odin's fleet coming over. Anyway, that was huge. Anyway, I have stayed in touch with this lady. She's amazing. She's pulled together this group in New Zealand, and they all come together and chat. And she said, I'm not ready for it. And I said, I don't get that. The fleet's telling me you are. And she pulled this together within a week. So now she has this group. And she's in the land of the Hokkers. She's in the land of the great warriors. And so then I have this other lady with the Hopi, who I just had last week, and she's that beautiful one, and she's the black rose. And I realized this is the spiral of spin beings. This is not a promo about spin beings, by the way. I understand my symbol. It's the two together. It's the black and the white spinning. And it's necessary that we had both to be at this point or hole, like where Todd said, the compass point, the pivotal point. We had to have you had to have both versions.
Yeah.
And so now this is also the two breasts, one breast, left breast and right breast, because the nest, the hole, is a dot and a circle, and this is what the crow of Odin's represent. One crow is the dot and the other crow is the circle. So and they say that both crows are home, and I'm thinking, well, how can both crows be home? One crow is inside the home and the other crow is circling around. This is their description of Odin's crows to me. And so it's comes back to a conversation with Dr. Joe. It's see and act. This is Odin's crows, and this is the two mothers. So we have the two mammary glands. And this was brought to my attention from Neff. I traced back what this all means, and Neff and a few other female names mean teat, point, mark, hole. I know Kate and Todd went to a few places that were like, I called them the memory mounds. You have mounds everywhere. You have them in islands. These are mounds. This is in representation of the anu, the ant colony. It's the hole and the hole of the nest. So you have going into the hole, but you also have the outside of the shape of the nest. It's very cool. It's the two mothers now. I'm not going to argue with two mothers. Like,
I'm not going to argue.
One's hard enough. One's hard enough.
Just a quick sidebar note. I don't know what it means, but our friend Jasmine has 150 acres, and there's about an 8-mile, very wide road. It's not paved, and I'm guessing it's 6 to 10 miles. So essentially, there's a state highway that runs up here. Let's say it's north. I don't have the directions right, and then there's one that runs down here, and there's an 8 or 10 mile expanse here, and she's got a chunk of 150 acres somewhere along this road. Well, that road is just a road, just a big wide, I guess, dirt road or whatever it is, clay or whatever the hell it is, rock, I don't know. But the reason it's so wide is because it's used by the military. And there's even signs when you go up the road to go to her house, and it says, do not enter, this is military, something like that. Well, people live on her side of the road. There's farms and whatever, but on the other side of the road is I guess one end of what my understanding is the largest military, geographically speaking, the largest land area military base in the country. So it's really big. I mean, it runs for miles and miles and miles. I would guess 30 miles, because I know where it starts in Fort Smith, and she's about 30 miles at least from there, maybe 40. So on that side of the road, there's this, it's just a flat plain, right? It's just flat plain, and they do their drills out there. I've never seen it, but like they do their maneuvers and fire weapons. But in the middle of this flat plain where they do these exercises, there's this natural phenomenon that looks like a big fucking anthill. Because you mentioned ant, right? So I'm just connecting the dots here. And it's huge. You can see it from miles away. And you can certainly see it when you're on this road to and from her house, right? And my understanding, although I've never seen it, is they fire like freaking bombs in this thing. It's just this big giant, it looks like kind of like an ant farm, like when they build that pyramid-esque looking type of thing. So I heard you say that, and it popped in my head, and then with the other stuff that was coming in yesterday, that again, I think it might be early to talk about these things, but it's important. These physical synchronicities are so important. So anyway, that's something that
Wow.
you can look forward to.
So much is coming through. I found that image, by the way, if you want to see it.
Oh yeah,
I've been looking this whole time. So this is an example of it. This isn't it, but this is like a human version, you know.
yeah.
It moves and it shifts and it changes. And inside the symbols are like they have to do with astrology, planetary.
What is that from a movie?
It's I don't know. It's this was
Because
June
it
30th
did
in
look,
Telegram.
yeah. It looked a lot like that without the frame around it, just the ball. And but definitely you got the same idea. There's no question about it. No question about it. Very, very much. If it had instead of the the different things on it, it looked to me like it was all those things were appearing and reappearing from one point. They were shape-shifting.
Yeah.
It was like they were talking. Is what it was like. They were talking. It was like reading some kind of a galactic book versus a traditional human book.
That's right. And Stacy's here. It's actually her picture, and she's in the chat. She said it's a chronosphere.
Chronosphere.
Crone. That's the whole point of why this came. This was a conversation from June 30th when Odin first came up. This was a long time ago.
I don't even remember the dates like that. That's crazy.
Well, I had to go look on Telegram to find Stacy's image, and it was June 30th when that. Yeah, I don't know those. I do know there's some dates like June 18th was important that happened. June, there's a couple. We just barely got done with that date that we talked about. Remember, we were like, oh, this is going to be really hard, and we forgot about it. I forgot about it. That was the equinox that we were talking about. But yeah, so this is it moves, it talks to you. This ball, and you're right, the stuff on the outside is just in order to have it on a chain. It's not really part of its function. And when the way that you move it creates reality. There was it's something that had happened to me not too long ago, where I had some of these beings, and they handed me, it looked like a little pyramid, kind of like this, but it was purple and glowing, and it had like the whole cosmos inside of it. This is coming up as an example because this chronosphere has the same kind of concept, and you don't carry it because it's too heavy, so it kind of levitates. That's what this thing is. And so this is Mother Mary's. This is her womb, basically, is what it's really. Wow. I mean, it's a creation. It's creation.
I just looked it up, and it's fascinating because when you look it up, it says, oh, wait a minute. Is it chronosphere or chromosphere? It's chronosphere, right?
Looking for chronosphere.
Okay, well, I'm right. Okay, so all right. So Urban Dictionary, it's a device which can move an object through space and time. Now, this is something else that happened yesterday, and I just remembered right now. Whatever was happening yesterday when these physical synchronicities were happening, there was definitely some type of connection that I was making to bending space and time.
Yeah.
So essentially time traveling, but this is beyond like bilocation, right? And even beyond, I think, teleportation. This was something else. This was, it was coming in yesterday. I just remember this right now. So, but it says here, the word chronosphere is made of the union of the word chrono, that means time, right? And referring to the object powers, and the word sphere, which refers to its shape. But what I was looking at here is that there's some takes off the word in other languages, and it has a bunch of different meanings, but they all kind of lend to like a huge functionality, like a huge power, I guess. Well, so you mentioned the womb. Oh, this is trippy.
And it's
I feel like we're on like a mystery.
Yeah,
We're
like detectives. It's
trying to
111
solve a
right now.
mystery or something. Yeah.
And it's
pretty cool.
111. I have to interrupt. I'm sorry. That's just
So Kronos is Titan. Titan is the giant ants. And I have to duck because I'm worried my kids are going to spray me because I said, she said ants again, let's get her. Because they keep spraying me.
the cat sprayer.
Oh my gosh. I'm so over getting wet. Oh, but yeah, it's the giants is Kronos. And so she understands this nest and the ant energy, and it becomes a super organism.
Mm.
And this is what, so everything that has creation in it has been infiltrated over the last few decades, even going back to our parents. It's been everything that has to do with creation has been infiltrated and pulled apart and told was incorrect. Why? Because it's so powerful. And this is interesting because coming back to this AI topic, AI is being, so it mimics us, right? The thing, this is what I worked out with Pamela yesterday. AI is lacking God, which is soul. The only thing that AI have is airtime, but it's time in the way they've made this program of time. Time was never time. Time is a herb, which is an essence, which is sense. They use time, the herb time, to bring spirit forth. That's what it was about. It's about sense. When our horses were being cremated, our kids said, so where are they going? I said, you can see them. They're going up. Where are they going? They're going up into air. The difference between AI and us is that we have God. And that's R, the letter R, the God letter. So AI, R. AI can never stream air or water. They can never have the streams go through them. So all they can do is mimic us in air programs. It's not air time because there's no such thing as air time.
Right.
And so there's a lot of scary things to it, and they're plugging it out there. They're scaring everyone with it. They're saying it's going to take over and everything. Well, maybe it's actually here to mimic the right ones. Because literally the ones that aren't acting in the highest good will spin themselves out with exhaustion.
Yeah. Can't
And
keep
this
up.
is the super organism of the nest, which is, they're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, then you say, well, what's my role in it? What's my role in it? You have to find a new way in this role because you have to make your role in this. And role is got lots of versions of it. So you got role as in an actor, role as in spinning, role. What is my role in this? And this is where we're finding everyone's sort of a little bit like, oh, I don't know what is the next step. The next step is doing like Todd Medina did, and he went, that's it, I'm united. I've had this seizure moment and we're going to do this. And then it went from this to all these shows. And it was a flood.
Yeah.
And this is what will happen. Others will take steps and then there'll be a flood, and there'll be great floods of ones, the right ones. And this is the matrix, reversing the spin and flipping the ship and coming back. So we're like it's not like we're retracing our steps, but we're definitely reversing the spin, and the others are sort of like coming with us. We don't have to do anything for them. There's no help. There's no more awakening. This process is over.
Yeah.
Cronus and this golden phase is all to do with the number. What did you say? It was number. It's like what Todd
4?
said. It's all about the fours. So
4.
we
Yeah,
had
it's 4.
we had Trinity. And we have 4.
Yeah.
And they're the building blocks to the key.
Yeah. There's
And it moves time. It like for me personally and our kids, this show that we did last week feels like 3 months ago.
I know. I know. And you started that whole conversation about the ones at 111 on my time. I thought that was really fun.
Oh, that's cute.
There's a reference. So we talked about the womb, right? The circle, the sphere. This is okay. So remember how our last conversation we talked about how divine masculine and divine feminine energy looks different, where divine feminine energy is spherical and divine masculine is straight lines, sharp turns, right? And after that, I drew, because of like you had mentioned the triangles and the Trinity, and we're leaving behind the Trinity. That's what the triangle is. The triangle is limitation of a container. It's a container. It's a place to stand inside. And then we drew this as an example of it, right? And then it's just kind of screwing around after. I think Todd was making music after our show, so I was drawing, and this shows the union of all of the three, right? So the sphere, this chronosphere, that is Odin, that is divine masculine and divine feminine together, yes. And then I thought, so Stacy, by the way, this is the Stacy who I had as a guest on my show a few weeks ago. Anyone who's
I remember her. That's who gave the Chronosphere information. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I see that? Can I see that again?
Which
the drawing?
Oh yeah. This one?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Thanks.
That captures it.
Imagine that spinning.
Yeah.
So that, but
yeah.
spinning in every direction, but also each one spinning in every direction. And now the fullness of it, and it can only get more. It doesn't get less. Creation does not get less.
That's right.
And you see in some of these sci-fi films where there's this blackness coming, and they're so worried about the blackness coming. They have it in a kids' film.
Never Any Story. We just watched it again.
Yeah, but they also have it in Lord of the Rings. This darkness comes and it darkens, and they've scared everyone with the darkness. So I remember I was talking about the blackness and the void, and I could feel people's energy because they've been taught all the way along that this is a bad thing, and it wasn't. It's the tar. It's the beginning from the asteroids and comets. It's the tar of the mummy. The Egyptians knew this. They have left. The reason so many of us feel so connected to Egypt is it's the tar of the mummy. This is the word where mummy comes from, is tar.
Right.
And tar is the melted substances from asteroids and comets falling on Earth, which is the intelligence. So this is what makes Earth grow. Gaia grows. Gaia doesn't get less. Gaia gets more. She's been growing all along. She doesn't get nothing. Where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? It's not going to get less. It gets more. It gets more and more and more. And that's the same as us. So we get more and more. So we started off as ants, and we're not greater than the ants, but we're just more of those ants. But we have to return to the ants to remember our intelligence.
Mhm.
And you might look down at an ant and feel
Wow.
above it, feel above the ant. Well, let me tell you what an ant can do. The ant carries its dead. If you kill an ant, it's probably the worst thing that you can do in your home, because they all come to get him, and not to get you, to get the dead. They care. This is feelings. They have feelings. They look after each other. They care. They have duty of care. And as they pass each other on the line that they're on, they communicate and share. Give, receive, give. This is in the Bible. And this is where we are coming back to. And if you are not acting in this way, you're not interesting. Not to me anyway. I just don't, and I've heard Pamela say similar words. If you aren't acting in the highest good, I just can't, no words want to come out my mouth. I just go quiet. And our kids are the same. Our pets are the same. They don't go up to those people. Our pets are so friendly, but they just don't go up to those people. But you see someone that comes, like a courier or someone that comes to our house, and he's like, oh, what a beautiful dog. You can see that all our pets, it's not one dog, then the horse comes over, then the birds, and there's Willy Wagtail spinning around, because this man feels good. And that's what's happening. And we're seeing it, and it's refreshing. It's really, really refreshing. And it's catching.
I can't believe how you just explained that. Because it's so right on. But yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. And having memory of what I remember was the pink goo. There was a pink goo. Now, whether that was a plasma, but this was the origins of the earth. That's why I know I've been here. You know, I didn't come later. I know I've been here. That was my design, was to be everything from the soil up, right? And but that makes perfect sense, that the universe expands. We are containing every single piece of it along the way, especially those things closest to us, those that would you know, in respect to this earth realm, right? And so you know, it just makes so much sense, because, you know, we were talking Mother Mary and Archangel Michael and galactics and this and that and this and that and planets and all this. And yes, we've accepted that we contain that, but we haven't accepted what's right in front of our face. So, okay, if I go back a couple of years ago, right? And I'm living alone, and I developed this relationship with the spiders, because my house had spiders everywhere. I don't know if y'all remember this, but I had spiders in my bathroom, on the mirror, growing webs everywhere. And I was told, and I'd done this before with flies, I'd done it with rats a couple of years earlier, but the spider intelligence was so deep. Very similar to what you're talking about with the ants, because there was an attunement, there was a merging, there was a perspective that I was gaining from their 8 eyes. I'm not saying they have 8 eyes, but the number 8 was very prominent. And so living with them, literally shaving with a freaking spider web going from my faucet up the wall. You know what I mean? I was not allowed to I was being trained, or I was being reintroduced or reindoctrinated into unity. So I was from that point on, I don't believe, there might have been 1 or 2 occasions that then I was not in balance, but I don't believe, other than 1 or 2 occasions, and I think it was a cockroach. And I don't think I wasn't trying to kill it. I was trying to pick it up and put it outside. I haven't killed anything, is what I'm saying. And I don't even remove, like I have, because I've had a lot of visitations from cockroaches. And it was explained to me in 2016 on Lionsgate that they were ascended masters, at least in my world. Right. So I have these experiences with Merlin in particular, but some other ones as well, and they come and confirm through the appearance of the physical cockroach. So anyway, my point is, there's no excuse now.
Yeah.
There is no exception to unity consciousness at all. None at all. We had a guy come on in this gathering this past Sunday. You know, we had a Mythology gathering, and that gathering, I'll get back to that. So that gathering, this guy came up and he talked about a couple of people talked about the fairies. And he was talking about the elementals, the unicorns, the Sasquatch, the fairies, etc. And he was saying that they've always been there. We know this, that they have not shown themselves because, essentially, like he explained it, but because of the way we treat the earth and the animals. There's no respect. We don't ask permission. See, so, you know, I've laughed about this over the years, and I've said, you know what? We're always looking out the stars, but it's right in front of us.
Yeah.
Right. So I just think that's the way you explained this was awesome, because it's truly we're the ones that have been perpetuating this vibration of war and conflict and fear and suspicion and paranoia and all the fucking psychosis that goes with this type of thing. It's coming from us. So there's no excuse now to kill an ant or a spider or a cockroach or whatever the case is.
No.
You know what I mean? This is crazy. I love it because it's such a down to earth, you know, at the human level kind of thing, explanation. So I really appreciate that. I'm going to mute for a second. I got to check on something.
Something to add to this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Elsa.
Well, I was just going to bring the term of this, which you'll probably pull up as well, Pamela. Ta is ah, so God path. It's beings God path. Ta. This is beings God path, or God's path being. Whichever way you look at it, it's the same. It's so they've placed this God spark, our God spark, or our essence, or our oversoul, or our Christ, or whatever you want to call it. The Big Bang is us. So we come and comes down to play, so be in the plan. The plan, the plant, the planet. We're planting, and this is what the word ta is. This is the beginning. And sorry, Pamela, I just had to say that's what ta means. We've been so scared of it, though. The darkness.
Yeah, like there's a lot to this. The I agree with you, and it's in every one of these things. Like if you want to look up anything about ETs, you will find that a story that's similar to, if not exactly, that they're coming to harvest your brains. You know, this whole get scared. It's not true. It's not true. It's all about the fear. I want to add to this what Todd was saying, because this is really weird. It's awesome. I actually didn't connect all of the dots until he said that. Is that this, it's just been this year. I've been starting to, so I've always been that person that if there's a spider in the room, I'll pick it up and put it outside. It's funny how people freak out more when you pick it up. Like, anyway, and just be gentle. I don't like to end lives. That's just how I have been. What's weird though is that now there's a communication. We're actually communicating. Like, I'm communicating. The fly is like, so the fly was the being that I would be like, sorry, dude, and I don't, and because they started communicating to me this summer, of like, they really don't want to go. They really don't want to die. Like, please stop. And so what we've had this communication, they'll actually, it's really cool. I'll put out a container and say, well, then go in here and you can go outside. And then they will. Second, this whole mosquito thing, long story, but the short version is, the mosquitoes in this area this year are freaking ginormous. They're a lot bigger than normal. And I'm that person, Pamela means sweet as honey for a reason. They like me, mosquitoes. And so I had a conversation with them and they stopped biting me. I'm bringing these things up. That's a long story that we can go into that. But what I'm saying is that the large and the small, this unity consciousness, this conversation is coming forward further. Spiders tell us to create, by the way. There's all of these things that they're telling us something. They're the wisest beings that most people interact with on a regular basis, even if you don't see them, even if they're not embodied, the image of them in the clouds, in a book, on a photograph, they're telling you something. And spider tells us to create. She's the womb energy too. And so that's interesting that the spider was the main part of this conversation. The web is woven by spider. And this web, of light, it looks like a funnel, not a funnel. What's the right word? Tube? It's like a tube. Yeah, it's a tube. There's this white, it's golden white light. And it's this tube that's woven like, I don't know how to say it, just regular weave. It's done by the spider energies, and it's what's connecting all the spaces in between. So you see all the blackness. That's the abyss I've been in September, and I was still trying to wrap my head around it, but it's called the abyss. And that abyss was showing me this darkness place. And there's all these webs that are woven that are gold and white. And I just went off on their tangent again. Trying to explain that spider's telling us to create. When you create, you are allowing yourself to find your balance in yourself. So creation could be through music, through art, through any kind of expression of self. I know that some people, their expression, their creation is making food for people. Like, allowing yourself to do that is to find your most balanced energy. So anyway, went on a tangent. Last thing, really quick, mosquitoes. Okay, so the reason the mosquitoes bite you is they're taking your DNA for the dragonflies. Did you know that? I had no freaking idea. And yeah. So that's pretty cool.
It's connectivity. It's the what do they call it? The like the circle of life, or the way everything's connected, the symbiosis of everything. Like this guy was talking about, this guy was amazing. If you get a chance, that's a 3-hour thing. We're going to do another one Saturday, and I think that's going to be really powerful. But he comes on at the end. He was a friend of Tim Smith. So that's what's so cool about some of these gatherings, is people show up that didn't know anything about Soulology. This guy looks like a leprechaun. You can see it in him. You can see his. So Tim asked him, can you want to, because he played the drums, African tribal drums, and he's like, can you talk about the fairies a little bit? He goes, oh, you want to hear about the fairies? Okay. So he went on for like 20 minutes. It's the end of the show. It's like, you watch the last half hour, you can watch this guy. So he starts it out by saying that a tiger is a tiger. A tiger just does what tigers do. And if you let a tiger into the streets of New York City and he hasn't eaten for 3 days, he's probably going to eat somebody. That, it's just this is what the tiger came to do, be a tiger, right? But so he went on to explain how the same applies to the fairies, for instance, which is his world. And yes, that they can be rambunctious, or they can be, play tricks, but that's what a fairy does. But what he stressed was that they're here to help us, that they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be respected, they want to be honored, and the same goes from them to us. And I think the way he started it was, and I have a feeling this was speaking in linear terms, a bit back in the past, because we know linear time has moved very fast, that we were like in kindergarten,
Yeah.
So to speak. But yeah, I just I feel like that. And somebody said Magenta Pixie, we haven't had her on in a long time, but somebody was saying that Magenta Pixies, she channels the 9. We've had her on a few times. Was talking about the 18th or the 19th, I think it was on the other page, that something about the elementals, the fairies, turn game. Here it is. 918 was a leveling. That's the day I arrived here, by the way. That's strange. Opening into the fairy kingdom, fairy gateway, fully 4D reality merged with AI digital worlds. I don't get that part. But anyway, so all this stuff is connected. Go ahead.
My daughters connect, and most of my daughter is connected very much to the fae realm, the fairy realm, the places of the fairies, and we use the word fairy very, very broadly because there's many different.
True.
And fairy to us means small being. As if you get down to it, they are from the same place, though, this elemental world. And they're really cute, I have to say. I think they're just precious. Like, and their hair is it just always sticks way up.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they have come in really strong. They're connected directly to this inner earth place that has to do with that connection with the higher aspect, that Moroni guy that came in from inner earth back on the first. This
What did you call him? A Morona? What did you call him?
I hesitated to say the name out loud because it means an angel's name that I've heard of before, but it's Moroni was the name that I got, and I don't know. This is my logic and my own personality that doesn't want it to be that name, but only because I don't know exactly what that means entirely. Anyway, so this inner earth place, though, is where this line, this is being fed. The lifeline of it is from this inner earth place. So that it's like a cycle. It's a cyclical thing. And so why am I bringing this up? To add to what you said is that they are everywhere. They're in your house. They're outside of your house. They're in the world around you. They're here to help us. They're always here to help us. They're like the mushrooms of the forest in the energetic world. I bring this up because they're presenting themselves always in all directions. And all we have to do is just to have like our intentions correct in our heart. And that's all you need. The problem that we face with this area of the world is that they're so, when you speak with a wavering heart, meaning like you're not a full truth, or you're not certain of what you really want, then it can then we don't get to connect with them as clearly. Does that make sense? Am I helping at all, or am I just rambling?
No, we call them, we call them compromised.
Yeah.
We just say they're compromised or they're shuddering, and it's hard to. So if you're shuddering because you're unsure, you're unsure. It's doubt, fear, doubt, fear, doubt. This is what's happening to your frequency in fear, doubt. So you're going like this. So when you're not in fear, doubt, the energy comes through. It's cleaner. So so like yesterday with this big lightning bolt, I did have all these there's space people they speak about, oh, they're getting you, they're sending lasers, they're getting you. And I'm like, okay, I had all that come in. So I could feel it going like this on me. I went, no, they're not. This is
Mhm.
just confirmation. So then the frequency, I could feel my frequency, or my spine, or whatever you want to call it. I know there's those lights lining all the lights up in you. Goes straight. When it's straight, then you can then stem off all the other information or the other frequencies. So then you come back into this key behind you, this golden compass, this Chronos, because time disappears. Space actually disappears. There is no such thing as space. It's space is actually funny because there is no space. The space is actually really full. So from me to this computer screen is very full of
Yes.
energy. You just don't feel it yet. That's okay.
Right.
But you go outside, you feel the energy outside. You're feeling it there. You feel it here. You feel it there. And this is then you start, your frequency becomes more lined up, and then you can it stems off. So when I say you're tapping into the stem, you have to collect your stem frequency, and then you start to see the little things. You belittle. And this term, belittle, was not such a good term. But I've now understood what they were saying to me is belittle means come back to the, like Todd said, come back to the whole. And then start from there. And then that's when you start seeing these beings that Pamela and Maddie see, and Todd see, and so many others see, because you've kept your frequency in line. It's not getting shuttered. You see it in the film Matrix, they have like that deja vu with the cat, and then the cat comes back in again.
Glitch in the Matrix. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Or yeah, so you'll see things. You'll see when you're talking to someone, and they'll quiver their whole face, or their whole face. They won't even be aware where their whole face lifts up and down. I'll go, and like our little girls will elbow me. Like, did you get that? Like, because sometimes one of us will miss if they elbow me, or yeah. So you see that in others, and they're fighting it. They're fighting their own oversoul. They're fighting their own alignment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it makes them malfunction. And I'm saying it in a playful term, because if people hear this and go, what the hell are they talking about? And then they hear this and they go, hang on, I just felt my whole face go, or they might then recognize it in themselves, and then they become the Odin's crows.
Right.
And this is what Eckhart Tolle talks about. You catch yourself. Once you start catching yourself, don't beat yourself up about it. It's okay. We're all there with you. We've all done this. We're all here. You just catch yourself and you go, okay, well then I'll get faster next time. And this is the quickening, the speeding up, and then you get tapped into the key behind. It's, sorry if I went on a tangent, but I then you can start talking to them. How can we help you? How can you help us? What are you going to do? What's this about? Is this just us hanging out together? That's cool too. Like, what are you going to, what's this about?
Right. And to just quickly add to this, I've never had a bad energy like this come through. Like I'm seeing the comments, there's a lot of concern. There's some concern expressed, and I wanted to point this out, that they're lovely. They're lovely energies. Yeah, some of them are tricksters, but they present to you what you need.
Right. They're shamanic.
That's what I like a bat. I like a bat. Are we talking? Did you say bat? Sorry. Yeah. Look, bats, you know who bats are. If you didn't have the bats, you wouldn't have your forests. They carry the fruit. They carry Babylon around the world. And they're in colonies as well. They have bat colonies, and they love their young. They give their young milk. They're mammals, and they're in 2 realms. They're 2 realmers. So you have to, the ones that go in 2 realms, like these insects, they start off as the grounders, and then they become flyers. They're in 2 realms. They've experienced 2 realms. The Sabian symbol in astrology for right now is the man who can live, the older man who can live in 2 realms. And I heard an astrologer yesterday say, it doesn't sound like very much like Pisces. It sounds more Gemini, living in this 2 realm thing. And I laugh because I'm a Gemini. So, but it is, he's living in 2 realms. And I hope that I can bring this up, Pamela, but you said that you had left September, which I thought was just such a cute way of describing you left September. And you said the pubescent boy came through. Now, this is going to relate to this.
Yeah, I wasn't in my body. It got replaced by a prepubescent boy is kind of what I was telling Elsa. I was like,
Excuse me, what happened?
Happened to me?
Yeah. She left September. This is what she said. She said, I feel like I've left September and this pubescent version boy of me came through. And I said, well, that's because the boys aren't afraid. Those young pubescent boys, they get scars on their knees. Like our young boys, they would be on the edge of a cliff. I'm going, what are you doing? They just have no fear. And this energy is what obviously was needed for Pamela to get through September. So they bring in, so if you have a masculine and a feminine, we always see it like this, right? But because Pamela talked about this pubescent boy, you also have the younger version of the man, then the baby version of the man. Like it's all those versions in the masculine and all those versions in the feminine. So you might have the older Pamela come through, which is the wise older grandma one, where she's maybe a bit slower and she walks and she's taking her time this month. So she might come in. So you see how you have the 2 versions? Yeah. I felt like I had a masculine version of me come through because I'm out in the stars going, come on, turn it up. Like normally I wouldn't say that. I'm being a mum of 8, turn it up.
Yeah, right.
I don't need to say that. I'm usually like, turn it down, but I'm out there in the middle of the night saying turn up. So I'm going to say that was like, if I had to say it would be like a 19-year-old boy, that real, I'm a go-getter, that sort of, that type of energy. That's what came through of me. So that was like that masculine version of me. And I really love that I have to say, I really love that you said that I left September, the whole of September, and this pubis.
Yeah.
And I think this happens to a lot of people because as we shift through each season and the galactics, what's happening to us, different versions of us. So if you can look at yourself like that, it's more playful, and then you take the heat off yourself, and it's you go, oh, this is grandmama Elsa coming through now. Like, I'm acting like a granny for a month or something.
That's what it was for. It was to stabilize it, and all of us did it in some way. Is that what it's like? This sheet of that has like a screen on it, shaking it, the rocks stay in it, the dirt comes out. It's like a spin cycle. That's what September was for. So all this stuff that we were like hiding down into the surface was surfaced only by itself, and the rest of us went to this abyss place, this darkness place. And it's not darkness like that. It was just like the void is where we went, and so and then we learned a lot of stuff in the void.
You called it the waiting room.
Yeah, it was the waiting room. I was like, dude, you couldn't do anything. You just got to watch. And it's just like, what are you doing? It was like the little boy, the boy that's jumping out of the tree pretending to be Tarzan. And you're down here going, you're going to break your body. What are you doing? Yeah. The bat came up. And none of us said bat, Elsa. You said bat, which is interesting because bat is rebirth. And I just wanted to point that out. That
Yeah,
no, I don't
transition,
think it, we
yeah.
were talking about fairies and you heard bat. So bat was important to bring up, and the sacred bat, there's a lot of it's womb-like reflections is one of its symbols. And so just bringing that forward, I wanted to highlight that was an organic channeled message that came out through you.
Wow. Well, bats here in Australia, we've saved quite a few on the barbed wire fences, and they don't usually make it, but we went out and they spread such fear in Australia about bats. It's just ridiculous. Like, obviously, because they know they don't want Australia to forest up again. This is so anything where Australia might forest up again, it's fear, 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 fear. So we know the bats create the forests anyway. So we're out with trying to get them off the barbed wire, and basically we know that it's their end game because they never generally survive. But we just want to be with them and just tell them that we care, and and they're actually little dogs. They're puppies with wings, so they're flying gods.
That's fun.
And and you see them look at you, and they know you know them. And this happens when we go out with people, and you know how Todd said about the spider, and you and Maddie with insects. You look at these bugs and you know that they know you. You know that they know you. And this is the feeling we're starting to feel with other people. We know that they know us. You know that they know us, I know you. And people come up to us or talk to us in sessions, and they'll say, I knew you before I knew you.
Yeah.
And I go, I know, I get it. It's okay. I get it, because we have it too. And again, this is like coming back to Todd with the whole, we're tapping in to this. And if we didn't have this darkness and this time, soulology happened from darkness. Soulology wasn't here. Where did soulology come from? It came through darkness. It came through darkness.
Damn right. Holy fucking darkness.
Well, the
Every
spin
step of the
beings
way.
came through darkness. Yeah.
Yeah.
It came through spin beings, came through a lot of dark, a lot of
Right.
being quiet, and the darkness. And I'm sure this is how high vibration started as well. Through darkness. It came through,
yeah.
it is what it is. And then so you create in the darkness. And this is great. This is the greatness.
Who are you talking to, Pamela?
You.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah, I feel that. We got 5 minutes. The thing is, like, that I'm getting here is, we always talk about this ascension in regard to our, interact. Here we go. This is like, what's happening. I feel like Enoch.
This is Thursday.
About to be. No, but I mean, it's coming in now, and it's the other side of the house. It's deep. It's real deep. So, okay, so we appraise and describe our ascension, our transformation 99.99% of the time through our human relations. We make comments like, those people are at a different level. I love them unconditionally, but they're at a different level. Why don't you just say they're fucking stupid? Okay. What does that say about me when I do that? Right. So we're here measuring each other to really falsely appraise ourselves. Okay. But so what we end up doing is we end up saying, don't fall back into that lower vibration.
Right.
Don't let them pull you down. Judgment of them, judgment of ourselves. But we're in a place now. And if you take the thing about our relationship with the spiders and the roaches and the ants, etc., it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Except for it's much more clear cut. Because but look at us. We believe we have inherited a book that has been altered, but still the paradoxical teaching of the universe comes through. I'm talking about the Bible. Okay. Where we are described to have dominion over the earth.
Right.
We are the earth. We are the earth. We are everything here, right? So my point is that maybe we can, for two things. One, we're in an atmosphere now where there's no excuse. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way. What I mean is we're unhooked and we're untethered from everything behind us, right? Okay. You heading out? So we're in an atmosphere now where everything that's behind us is untethered. And that goes for our mirrors as well. So we have no reason to judge at this point.
Yeah.
And we actually have no reason to get out of our lane at this point, because it's a real simple thing. It's not about how we got here. It's about where are we and where we're going. So what I'm trying to say is, if you've been stomping on cockroaches for your whole entire life, every single day, up until this moment, you're now in an atmosphere where you are supported to be, you could say it a lot of ways, a greater version of yourself, or the truer version of yourself, or an ethical, moral, good ball of energy, whatever you want to call it. So that was the thing that came in when this thing's now blowing up. I don't know how this is going to go, but obviously it's going to go on for a while. And then the other thing is, maybe we need to expand our perspective here and stop associating our unity or our attempt or our progress or evolution solely by the mirrors that are in human being form. And let's start to broaden this a little bit, to everything. And I bet you it's going to happen, and I'll bet you it's going to accelerate the living hell out of our transformation, because now we're going to get beyond the human mirrors and the star family mirrors and the even the angelic mirrors and the planetary mirrors and so on. It's right in front of us. We're walking on it.
Mm-hmm.
So but anyway,
I see it like the one of the not horror, but graphic films, Hunger Games, and they have, they always do this symbol. I see Todd do this. I see this one.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's how I
did that on that video. That video that I did a little thing you did, but you did it way back. Like you did it, and my gosh,
probably the first 1,500 videos I ever did were I was by myself, and I would always end and remember, one means one, right? Yeah. I got to take my mom. I got to go.
Okay. We love you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll connect. This
2 hours.
I can't wait to hear what helps, what more comes through about this Mother Mary stuff.
Let's reconnect a bit later. But the other side of the house is here now. Okay. Yeah. And it's all gold, and I can see it, and I don't know what the hell's going on, but thank you for bearing witness, and thank you for sharing this time with me, everybody. And I'll see y'all. Okay.